Hey guys, Tiffany Ofili Porter here, where I discuss all things life after sport. This video is going to be a get to know me better. I'm going to answer 10 popular questions that I often get asked. But more importantly, as we're having the conversation, I'm going to offer some tips. And it's just going to be a dialogue kind of between you and I. Feel free to chime in the comments and we can continue on with this conversation. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you continue to watch.
With medals on her chest, she's proven her greatness, knows no rest, representing the countries with pride she stands.
So the last time I did a get to know me, it was 5 months ago. I answered the question on whether or not my husband and I want more children. I talked a little bit about authenticity versus showing up and how social media kind of conflates the two. And it was just a good conversation. So I'll make sure to link that for you guys to watch. But I decided 5 months later, we have new faces here in our community and we've learned a lot. We're monetized now. Life has changed in the last 5 months. So I thought it would be really interesting to do kind of a part 2 on that video, and we might actually tailor it a little bit to YouTube specifically and just some fun questions that I think you would find useful. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I have my phone here where I did take some notes and kind of jot the questions down. So number one, what inspired me to start this YouTube channel? Now, I think this is a very good question, and I think that it's important for us to discuss. So number one, I did not start this YouTube channel to get rich. Trust me, I have had several different careers in my life, from being a professional athlete to being a pharmacist, which I still currently am. I'm no longer a professional athlete, to a real estate investor, which I still am kind of passively now that we live in a different state. More on that later. And I wanted to add content creator to my list. So I did that in 2022, but I kind of focused primarily on Instagram and Facebook, and TikTok kind of came a little bit later, still trying to figure that app out. But I wanted in 2023 to finally take the challenge of starting a YouTube channel. Now, I've been consuming YouTube for as long as I can remember. And honestly, I wanted to launch a channel back in 2014 when I was running track. I was living in Holland. I was consuming a lot of Sister Locks content, and I just really wanted to kind of start a vlog and or sit down video channel. But fear kind of consumed me. It made me stop. So I said, you know what? I know I have value to add to the YouTube space. So that's number one, why I started it. I knew that I could be a resource to people, whether that's talking about Sister Locks, which gets a lot of interest on my channel, or about healthy Black marriage, or just millennial marriage, even if it's not Black, just showing kind of what has worked for me and my husband. We're coming up on 20 years this fall of knowing each other. And 2011, 14 years, I have to do the math in my head, 14 years of being married, and just kind of all those different transitions. I knew that sharing about healthy marriage could be also useful. I wanted to do vlogs, kind of show behind the scenes of what retired professional athlete life looks like, or motherhood, or, you know, just things that I do on my day to day. And I knew I also wanted to just showcase that just because you have a lot of different interests in life does not mean that you have to put yourself in a box. So you're not going to come to this page and only hear about Sister Locks. You're not going to only hear about marriage. You're not going to only hear about motherhood. You're not going to only see vlogs, because all of these, I think, kind of serve their purpose and can cater to different audiences. So that was a very long-winded way of saying that I wanted to offer value in the space. Number two, wanted to build community and kind of nurture and foster that community. Creator coaches have expressed that you tend to have a deeper connection with your community when you do long form content. So that's YouTube, podcasts, blogs, more so than what you can accomplish on like a 60-second reel or TikTok video. Because if somebody's going to sit there and watch you for 10, 15, 20 minutes, they're a little bit more invested into what you have to say. You can really flesh out what you're trying to say. You don't have to worry about editing and making it, you know, it's just a different skill set. So I really wanted to nurture a community. Number three, I really wanted to kind of expand my arsenal of content creation skills. I honestly, now that I am a YouTuber, feel as though you can't really call yourself a real content creator if you haven't at least dibbled and dabbled in the art of long form content, because it's a completely different skill. Creating a 1-minute TikTok video versus editing and creating a long form, 30-minute long sit down where people actually watch you, two very different skills. So that was really important to me. And then number 4, y'all know I'm going to keep it real. Yes, I obviously did know that there is monetary potential in being a YouTuber. Some of the biggest YouTubers are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. Who knows if that's going to be in my future? Only God knows. But I knew that the first step to achieving these goals was to show up. So that was why I started this YouTube channel. And if any of those reasons resonate with you, maybe it might be time for you to take that plunge. We are now in January of 2025. And I know there's somebody watching this video who maybe has considered starting their YouTube channel. Even if it takes you 5 years to get monetized, or even if your goal is to not get monetized and you just want to create content or even chronicle your life or whatever your motivations are, if you've been sitting on it and it's been on your heart to do it, this actually might be your sign. I can definitely give you that nudge, give you that encouragement to say that it has changed my life. I will link a video on how YouTube has changed my life with just 500 subscribers that I posted months ago. And that video got a lot of traction because it was relatable and it was true. I wasn't monetized. I wasn't even close to the requirements of being there, but I still saw the value in creating YouTube. So that was number 1. Let me power through. This was meant to be a very quick video, so let me not spend too much time. Number 2, where are you from and where do you currently live? I am from Ypsilanti, Michigan, and I currently live in Kansas City, Kansas, or like the suburbs of said area. Now, I'm multinational. My dad was born and raised in Nigeria. My mom was born in England, and I was born in America. So I have 3 passports. I've always had a multicultural background, and I am a first-generation immigrant to America. So all of those kind of layers have kind of built my personality, built my character, built my values, and yeah, a very important part of who I am. So drop down in the comments where you guys are from. I would love to see kind of where my audience resides. Yes, I can look at my analytics, but it's just a little bit more fun to see people tapping in from their respective locations. Number 3, what are your favorite hobbies or things to do in your free time? That's a good question. Now, a lot of people probably would just say scroll aimlessly on social media, but because social media is my job and I do spend a lot of time mostly creating content and consuming it as well, that's not something that I would say I would do in my, like a hobby that I enjoy doing in my free time. Because for me, sometimes I do associate social media with work. So I wouldn't say that. I know many people would say that. I like to binge a good show. Right now, I'm currently watching the Equalizer series. It's based off of the movies with Denzel Washington. So good. Queen Latifah is the protagonist. She plays that role like a master, and it is just so engaging. It makes me feel like I'm a ninja, and I just love the show. So I will say binging shows. And then one thing I did a lot of in 2024 that I need to get back on in 2025 is listening to my audiobooks. So I was powering through audiobooks. I'm talking about an audiobook every day and a half, like, because I would go on my long walks with my son, and sometimes I would just not want to watch a YouTube video or not want to listen to a podcast. I would put on a really juicy audiobook, and it would just like transport you to a different world. So definitely audiobooks, watching good shows. To me, audiobooks is basically reading. So I would say I'm an avid reader, but sitting there and actually reading a hard book is just, it doesn't really align with my lifestyle because my kids keep me so busy and it's really hard to do. So audiobooks is like the happy medium for me. Next question. So I do not want this video to be too long. What's one fun fact about yourself that people don't know? I was a cheerleader in high school, and technically middle school, and technically like elementary school. I cheered like from young all the way into my senior year of high school. I was also a dancer. I did ballet, tap, jazz, hip hop towards the end. I was actually the captain of my hip hop dance team in in my senior year, and then life got really busy with track and I needed to kind of scale back on that because I knew that was what my future was going to be, track. I ended up going to college and running track and being a professional and a 3-time Olympian, for those of you who are new here. So definitely somebody that loved sports. I loved movement. I loved dance. I still love to dance to this very day. I'm actually sitting here in the parking lot now for my daughter's dance class, hence the reason why you can see the parking lot in the background. So it's really fun to see her kind of carrying on those hobbies that I did as a child. Number 5, what's your dream job or ultimate life goal? Whew, you guys, my dream job is to not have to have a job. Let me kind of explain that. Like I mentioned before, I have had different careers. So professional athlete for 12 years, pharmacist now since 2012, so that's going on 13 years in April, and real estate investor since 2017. So that's going on 7 years this summer. So I have had several different hats that I've worn, and now adding content creator / influencer on that kind of resume. All of those different positions have taught me something, and I've learned and grown tremendously within those different sectors. So I won't say that I have a dream job. I think every season is different, and I think depending on where you are in your life, something can be considered a dream. So for instance, before I had children, traveling the world and competing against the best hurdlers in the world and getting paid pretty handsomely to do so for such a long period of time was a pivotal, life-changing time in my life, one that I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to experience. But now, as a mom of 2 kids, kind of 37 years old, if you ask me to go and kind of live that lifestyle of a professional athlete, I wouldn't necessarily be interested at this stage in my life. So what was a dream when I was 23, enjoying life as a pro athlete, would not be a dream for me right now at 37. So another kind of similar aspect to that is being a pharmacist. I love being a pharmacist. Now, for those of you who don't know, I work only 1 shift per month because right now my primary focus is taking care of my kids and being present and kind of being a stay-at-home mom who also creates content to still bring in income for the family and just to share my gifts and talents. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit hot. Sitting over here in the car with the heat on. I'm taking off my little faux leather jacket. But I think my dream job is one that offers me time flexibility, still allows me to kind of have the autonomy to call the shots. So entrepreneurship is right up my alley and allows me to be present for my kids, because right now that is my number 1 priority for where I am in my life. So whereas I love being a pharmacist, if you ask me to go and work 32 to 40 hours per week, averaging about 5 days per week or 4 days per week, depending on the length of the shift, that wouldn't be a dream to me, because inherently right now where I am with my son being less than 2 years old, I would feel a little bit pulled to be home with him. So now when he goes to kindergarten and my daughter is then in 4th grade, or at that point I think she'll be in 3rd grade, then maybe that might be a dream, because I would have more free time. I would be able to not have that guilt of, mom guilt. I don't know. I can't even speak for the future. Who knows? A year from now, it might be my dream to go back to the pharmacy 20 hours per week, how I was doing when I was competing in track. But the point is, I don't really have a dream job. And I know that might be a little bit different for some people. Let me know down in the comments if you are similar or if you do have a dream job. But I love the idea of creating content and being able to share and showcase my life and inspire or encourage others while offering value. That to me really does mean a lot. And I know, some people are just in it for the money. I am not, especially with YouTube. It's a long game. If you think you're going to come and create a YouTube channel and become a famous millionaire YouTuber within 3 months, then go ahead and try it and just don't get discouraged, because that's not the case for most people. So I say all that to say, I don't have a dream job, but my dream lifestyle is being able to call the shots, have flexibility in my time, because to me, that's the most valuable currency. Next question is, what's your favorite food, movie, or TV show? My favorite food changes by the day. Some days I like moi moi, which is a Nigerian delicacy. It's like a bean pie, and it's made out of black eyed peas, onions, red bell pepper, seasonings, and it's kind of steamed to a very delicious consistency. I love it. But then some days I'm not in the mood for that. My favorite food is pizza or tacos or sushi or Chinese shrimp fried rice. It just really depends. I like ethnic food, as my husband would say. So I would typically choose like a Chinese food or Korean food or Indian food over like burger or barbecue. That's just my personal preference. As far as TV shows, right now I am heavy on this Equalizer. Check it out if you guys are looking for a good show to binge. You may have already seen it. I might be super late to the party. I think it started in 2021. But that's a really good one. And my favorite movie depends on the season I'm in right now. The last movie I saw with my daughter was Mufasa, The Lion King, and that was really good. The Lion King franchise is just such a monumental movie and just like empire that they've built with the spin-offs and the part twos. So I really enjoyed that. I don't know if I would call it my favorite, but that was definitely my favorite movie of 2024. Number 7, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Somewhere that is warm. I hate the snow. I don't know if you can see back there. We just had a snowstorm here in Kansas City. And although Kansas City is significantly warmer than Michigan, where I'm from, I still see snow. So I want to go somewhere where snow's not even an option. I'm talking like the Caribbean or I don't know, just somewhere warm. That would be top on my list. But honestly, I'm one of those people who can be happy anywhere as long as I have my family, my friends, and to me, it's all about mindset. So if I go to a city saying I'm going to like the city, I'm going to like the city. If I go to a new place saying I'm going to hate it, chances are I'm going to hate it. So I genuinely do believe in the power of the mind. I do not like the cold weather. So if I had a choice, it would be somewhere warm. It would be somewhere that has diversity. That is very important for me and my family to just have community and to, be welcomed in a place. So I didn't really answer the question because I don't have a dream place that I would live. Just give me some heat and give me some diversity. Do you have any pets? No, I do not have pets. I'm not really an animals person. Or do you have any siblings? Yes, I have 2 older brothers. Shout out to Frank and Alex, aka Falo and Al Al, and my little sister Cindy, who has featured on this channel before, aka Juby Booty. I love my siblings. We are I think 14 years apart between the 4 of us. So shout out to my parents for birthing and raising 4 kids. They are the real MVPs because your girl with 2 understands the commitment that goes into raising kids who are going to be contributing members of society. So shout out to them for that. And any family traditions that I love. One thing we typically do, even though, now I live in Kansas City, my sister lives in Arkansas, my brother lives in Philly, we try to always come home for the holidays. Now, sometimes it's hard. This past Christmas, I did not go home. We ended up going to New Jersey, and although I love my in-laws and I had a fantastic time, it was a little bit different, and I did miss seeing my family. So that is one thing that I'm going to kind of try to continue to endeavor to do, kind of keep that family tradition alive by continuing to go home to Michigan during the holidays, especially now that my parents are getting a little bit older. Are there any family traditions that you guys like to do? Let me know down in the comments. I'm always looking for suggestions too. Now that we have our young family that we're building, sometimes it's nice to kind of get ideas and maybe start some new traditions that you can pass on to generations to come. What is your biggest fear or something you want to overcome? I don't really live life in fear, and I know that sounds incredibly cliche, but I genuinely don't have big fears. Now, one thing I do want to say is that I never want to be a slave to anything. I never want anything to become my God or kind of take the place of where God stands in my life. So for example, I started thrifting at the end of 2024. I was there all the time. I've created so much content about thrifting, and I have so many great finds that I found. I could probably continue to create content about thrifting for the next year. But one thing that I said at the beginning of 2025 I'm done. This is going to be a low shop year for me in 2025. I wanted to say a no shop year, meaning I'm not buying any clothes for myself for the whole of 2025, but I do want to give myself grace. We have a very big family trip coming up in November, so I definitely want to kind of give myself grace. So I'm calling it a low shop because you never know, something might happen, there might be an emergency, you might need to go buy something. So I don't want to like set up this goal and then feel disappointed. So I'm not going to call it a no shop, but it's basically a no shop. In other words, I don't want to feel like clothes and material things are so important to me and that it's becoming an obsession or becoming too much. And my closet's getting very, very full. So that's another thing. So that's one thing. I never want to feel like I'm a slave to anything. Social media is another one. I scroll a lot, but the thing is I'm a content creator. So there has to be a balance between, okay, this is my job. This is what I do to generate income, and kind of what I'm just doing frivolously and wasting time and aimlessly scrolling and consuming too much. One of my goals in 2025, as it should be with to any of my fellow content creators out there, is to create more content than you consume. So yes, it's okay to engage with your community that you're a part of. I have a lot of my fellow influencers that I love their content and I want to show up for them and engage and be present in their communities, but there has to be a balance with overconsumption of social media. So that's one thing I'm definitely limiting this year, is the amount that I consume. Again, I don't want to be a slave to anything. Nothing's going to control me. So that's a big fear of mine, just ever feeling like, oh my goodness, I love this thing so much that there's no space for anything else in my life, or that it's just taking up too much of my mental bandwidth. I love my children. I love my husband. I love my family that I came from, like my siblings and my parents. But at the same time, I can't make that my God either. My children are my top priority, but not more top than God and kind of my responsibilities that I have here as a Christian. So all that to say, I try to put those breaks and those kind of checks and balances in place to make sure that I'm not overdoing anything. So you guys can keep me accountable as well. If you see me shopping, be like, Tiff, what happened to that low shop year we talked about? But if you do see any thrifting or clothing haul content, know that I did so much stockpiling of clothes and coats and blazers and shoes that I literally can create enough content for the next year. So something to keep in mind as well. And that's another thing for content creators. If you kind of know you're going to be entering a new season in your life, batch create. Start thinking about ways that you can kind of stretch this content out so you are able to kind of just have that flexibility and those options. Last but not least, number 10, for those of you who are still watching, thank you. This video I thought was going to be 10 minutes. I'm already at 23. Don't know how this happened. Hopefully you're enjoying this video and finding use from it. But what can viewers expect to see from my channel in the future? The analytics have spoken. My community has made it known that Sister Locks content is here to stay. The girlies like hearing about Sister Locks content. In fact, I have a retightening tomorrow. I'll see if my loctician wants to do another Loctician Speaks part of the series. I have a playlist on Sister Locks, so that content is not going anywhere. You're going to expect to continue to see marriage content, whether that's having my husband on the channel to kind of go over things, or if it's just me speaking from a wife's perspective. But I do think there is a need to talk about healthy marriage in this time and age where I genuinely feel like there's an attack on marriage, or there's less of an emphasis or less of a value placed on it. I kind of want to be the person, within my experiences to show that, yes, here are some things that can help you in your marriage. Here's what's worked for me, and just offer any type of guidance or encouragement in that space that I can. You're going to continue to see vlogs. Now, vlogs, I've mentioned before, are not my favorite type of content to create or consume, but they have their value, and I will continue to do so because the girlies and the guys on this channel seem to like it. So I got you there. And then motherhood and just kind of offering value in any way that I can. Again, a big tenet of this channel is to offer value to my community. So that is a great segue. If there's anything that you guys want to see more of me in 2025 in the months to come, let me know down in the comments. If you want me to maybe start a new series talking about motherhood specifically, or sister locks, or marriage or a vlog series, let me know. I'm just here to be of service, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you like, comment to let me know, and feel free to subscribe to join the family. And thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.